officials are out on major roads as traffic volumes are expected to peak once again today. And that's as holidaymakers head to different destinations for this Easter weekend. Provincial governments, along with the Road Traffic Management Corporation, have been launching safety campaigns that are aimed at curbing road accidents and fatalities. Let's get you an update on the situation on the ground, so to speak, and bring in RTMC spokesperson Zwane. Also joining us is N3 Toll Concession Operations Manager Thania Dhoogra, both of them via our video link this morning. And it's lovely to see you both. Thanks for making time to speak to us. It's that time of the year where typically there's an increased kind of attention on how the roads are faring. Mr. Zwane, perhaps I can begin with you. We saw you out and about as of yesterday. Is there anything unusual about how traffic volumes are faring this year?
Yeah, if we compare it to the past 2 years, my sense at this stage is that we've seen more vehicles on the roads compared to the past 2 years. I mean, remember there was a year of COVID. There we experienced very low traffic volumes, but I think this year we're seeing more people traveling, despite the fact that the ZCC church is not one section of it, rather. They are not going for Easter, but despite that, we're still seeing huge numbers of vehicles on the roads. So far, I think we can say we're satisfied with the behavior of the motorists. If you judge by the number of incidents, we haven't had any major incident or major crash that we can talk about at this point. So we're satisfied with that because it reflects that people have been driving and behaving themselves well so far.
Yeah, that's certainly good to hear. And Thania, how's it looking in your neck of the woods? I mean, we've seen reports of it being relatively quiet in KZN.
Well, on the N3 toll route, which is between Sadara and Heidelberg, it hasn't been as high as we expected yesterday, definitely. But I think that's partly because we did see quite a bit of traffic leaving on Wednesday, so earlier than expected. We did see a steady flow of traffic, over 1,000 vehicles an hour, but only peaking at about 1,300 yesterday, heading southbound. We are seeing some movement of vehicles northbound as well, or that's what we were observing yesterday, and that continued until fairly late in the evening. I think it was around 10 p.m. that it finally sort of eased off properly. And it started already early this morning that, from 4 o'clock this morning already, we had almost 800 vehicles an hour heading southbound, and that's peaked fairly quickly because by 6 o'clock in the morning it was already over 1,200. So we're expecting that we'll probably see a fair amount of traffic this morning, but you're right, we definitely have not seen the kind of volumes yesterday that we were expecting.
Sure. And when you kind of think about the trajectory that this kind of traffic typically takes throughout the long weekend, when are most people traveling, at least if history is anything to go by? Zwane, maybe I can begin with you. When are you expecting there to be the most number of vehicles on the road when you consider the entire weekend?
Now, we expect that today, some people who were working yesterday, they would have knocked off. Others early, those who were able to have a half day, they would have started traveling, and some are starting to travel this morning. But other people worked and the full day, so we're expecting that there will be more vehicles on the roads today. But particularly going to the north, on the N1 towards Limpopo. Already yesterday there were more than 2,000 vehicles an hour. So we expect to see the last rush going to today, and then we'll see them when they come back again on Monday. It's going to be also another busy day. Yeah.
Thania, I see you nodding. I suppose there's a correlation with your own experience. Yeah. But please go ahead.
Sorry. No, I was going to say, yes, we're expecting that we'll probably see a peak between 9 o'clock and 12 noon today, but the biggest traffic on the road will be on Monday when everybody's returning.
Right. What I was going to say is that what we're also looking out for is whether or not the campaigns that typically we see every time this time of the year actually work, right? It's good to hear that as of this morning on Good Friday, we don't really have any major incidents, and I wonder to what extent we can attribute that to the kind of awareness campaigns, which, let's face it, you invest a lot in, Mr. Zwane.
Yeah, I think even this year we've identified which roads are going to be very busy, but to also identify those roads that are likely to have crashes and incidents, and deploy it in those spots. On the entry, we've deployed, for instance, traffic officers for 24/7 who are patrolling that road, identifying people who are misbehaving and dealing with those. I know that late last night they were also starting to deal with matters of drunken driving. So that identification of hotspots and deployment of officers on the hotspots, it assists us in reducing the numbers of people that get involved in crashes over these kinds of periods. We saw it over the festive season, but we also saw it last year. I mean, to remember that last Easter, we had a massive reduction, I think around 30% reduction in numbers of people who are dying on the roads. And we also saw a reduction over the festive season. So that gives us a reason to say the campaigns are beginning to bear fruit.
Sure. And are the causes of the crashes, Thania, still pretty much the same? You know, all very human related, around people just making the wrong decisions on the road?
Well, that's what our statistics are showing, unfortunately. I mean, we were looking at on average almost 80% of both light and heavy motor vehicle accidents being caused by human error, which is primarily as a result of negligent driving, such as speeding or driving under the influence, and often also losing, concentration or being distracted by things around you. Like we always try to remind everyone, it's really important to, keep your hands on the wheel, keep your eyes on the road, and make sure you're following those rules on the road as well, because they're there for everybody's safety.
Absolutely. Well, hopefully we don't have to reinvent the wheel, excuse the pun, and we get things right this time around. Simon Zwane and Dhoogra, great speaking to you. Thanks for your time.